Hi, thanks for joining me today. Today's topic is rejecting comparisons. I think that you'll find this topic helpful today. Before we start, I want to say hello to my listeners that are in New York City. It's amazing how many people are listening there. Thank you so much for tuning in. I just love knowing that you're finding the show to be helpful for you. Let's jump right in here. This is an issue that many people typically report struggling with through their lives. They're aware that they started doing it in childhood. They're aware they continue to do it as adults. Some people blame it on the position of their birth in the family. Well, I was the middle child. I was always ignored, or I was born with a medical issue, or I grew up in a family we always struggled with money. But the truth is, when we really be honest with ourselves, it's really about a character flaw that we have hidden within us. And I've been guilty of this too, and it's something that I had to really work to overcome. I was able to stop it through conscious effort. And of course, I'm going to share with you today not only the reasons why it's not good to compare yourself to others, but how to stop doing that. So when we're young, when we're in grade school, we're really young, we're usually comparing, well, such and such has better toys, or they're better at sports, they get better grades. But then as we become adults, it gets more, actually even before that, with physical appearance, with accomplishments in school, with who's got the better partner, romantic partner. Then it gets into who's making more money, who has a more exciting job, who gets to travel more worldly success. So it just never ends. And the truth is, there's an infinite number of categories that you can compare yourself to others with, and an infinite number of people in the world to compare to. And when you add social media to the mix, as much as it has, unfortunately, it's easier than ever to constantly find someone you see as better than what you have, or better than you. And it only serves to make you feel bad about yourself. So once you begin down this road, if you don't check it at some point, it just never ends. It gets worse and worse. The tendency to compare ourselves to others is human. I mean, we're just human, right? And I know I'm not alone in this experience, because people talk to me about this issue when they come to see me for spiritual counseling. But it's a decision that only serves to steal joy from our lives. And it's a habit that has numerous shortcomings. I'm going to talk a little bit about those shortcomings, just to really point out how dastardly this habit is. Number one, comparisons are always unfair. We typically compare the worst we know of ourselves to the best that we presume about others. It is comparing apples to oranges. Comparisons, by definition, require metrics, but only a fool believes every good thing can be counted or measured. Comparisons rob us of precious time. We get a certain number of seconds, minutes, hours in a day and in our lifetime, and even using one of them to compare yourself to the accomplishments of another person is too much. You are too unique to compare fairly. Your gifts, talents, strengths, successes, contributions, and value are entirely unique to you and your purpose in this world. They can never be properly compared to anyone else. You have nothing to gain but a lot to lose by comparing yourself. For example, you can lose your pride, your dignity, your drive, your passion. There is no end, again, to the possible number of comparisons. This habit can never be overcome by attaining success. There will always be something or someone else to focus on. I'm going to share with you where at a young age, I would say between 17 and 19, that I really came face to face with this. I've always been a very good singer. I've always been among the best in any area I've lived in. And when I was between 17 and 19, I was doing some singing competitions at ASU in Phoenix. And I met people who were just as good as me and maybe a little bit better. And I was like, wow, There's always going, it was like a light bulb. There's always going to be somebody better. And that's okay. That doesn't mean we stopped doing what we do. It doesn't mean we lose our passion, our drive, our desire to do something because someone's always better. It just means we need to be aware of that and stop the competition. There is no competition. So comparison puts focus on the wrong person. And I really feel like this is the biggest point of all. You can control only one life, and it's yours. But when you constantly compare yourself to other people, you're wasting your precious energy focusing on other people's lives that you can never change. You'll never change another person, only yourself. So we're going to talk a lot more at length about that later in this show. So I think you'll find that the most helpful. Another reason is that comparisons often result in resentment towards others, resentment towards ourselves. Somebody, let's say your neighbor got a new boat and you've always wanted a boat and you were fine with that neighbor before, but now they've got that boat you always wanted, maybe even nicer than the one you wanted. And now you want that boat or something better. And so you're upset with them for having something and you're upset with yourself for not being able to afford to get it. How silly is that? I mean, really, let's look at this objectively. It wasn't bothering you before. Now he has a boat. So what? It doesn't make him better than you, whatever the circumstance, boat or insert anything else in there you want to. It doesn't make them better than you. It doesn't make you bad because you can't have that right now. Comparisons deprive us of joy. They add zero value, meaning, or fulfillment to our lives. They only distract from those things. The negative effects of comparison are wide and far-reaching. It's likely that you have experienced or may be experiencing now many of those firsthand in your life as well. So how can you break free from this habit of comparison? I'm going to share some tips with you. So the first one is be aware of its negative effects. When you start thinking, seeing something someone has or something they are or have achieved or have purchased or whatever, and you're aware of it, think about the harmful effects comparing yourself to others has on your life. Intentionally remove it from the inside out to free yourself from the damage this mindset has had on you. Like anything else that you want to change, first you must identify it, and then you have to consciously work on it. And it's working on your thoughts first, your reactions, and your words. So if you catch yourself thinking, oh man, I can't believe they got that. They got that. I wanted that. Or I'd love to have that. And just say, I'm so happy they got that. That's so wonderful. Maybe I'll have something like that someday. It's a shift, but it's an important one. Number 2, see your own successes. Really, we're coming back to that, focusing on you. Whether you're a writer, musician, doctor, landscaper, mother, or student, you have a unique perspective backed by your own personal experiences and gifts. You have the capacity to love, serve, and contribute. You have everything you need to accomplish good in your little section of the world. With that opportunity right there in front of you, become very aware of your past successes, small to large, and find motivation in them to pursue more of them. There is no one out there in the world who's exactly like you. I've a few times in my life had people swear they knew someone who looked exactly like me, but they didn't act like me. They didn't have my voice. They didn't have my personality, many things. So they're not just like me. Suppose you're busy comparing and trying to be like everyone else or even someone else. In that case, you're not being authentic to yourself. You cannot bring your unique perspective and ideas to the world as long as you're trying to be like someone else. People won't have a chance to get to know the real you. And there are things that you can contribute at work and at home for others, yourself, that you might miss out on if you're thinking about what you don't have that someone else does. Rather than getting stuck thinking about how you measure up or don't measure up, enjoy who you are right now, today. Think about what you can do for other people and what kind of person you want to be. Focus on that instead of what anyone else is doing, has, what any of that. If we all think about how we can help others and be our best selves, the world can get a lot better fast. So I'm going to talk a little bit in here just to insert a little bit about abundance. I want you to give some thought, not right now, but later. Give some thought to what does abundance mean to you? And hopefully you can come up with a lot of things that don't involve money and material objects, because it's far more than that. It is about the people in your life. It is about your passions, your hobbies, the work you do, everything that makes it rich and full. And you need to make a list of that, really taking the focus off of money and things, because that is a very small part of abundance. Next, desire the greater things in life. Some of the most amazing treasures in the world are hidden from sight. Things like love, humility, empathy, selflessness, generosity. And among these higher pursuits, there is no measurement. Desire these above everything else and remove yourself entirely from society's definition of success. I truly believe that this is happening, that there is a shift happening. It's not happening for everyone, but it's happening for a lot. And as soon as I saw, this is one example, as soon as I knew about the tiny home movement, I believe that's part of this, where people are realizing having all the things, it just takes my money, takes my energy to take care of it, to protect it, to clean it, all these things, and to make the money to have these things. And they want more out of life. They want more flexibility, especially younger people. I love seeing how they put more value on experiences than monetary things that they buy their children and buy their family. It's about experiences. And I think that's also part of this movement. So this will help you avoid the trap of being in like enough is never enough thinking. Have you met somebody like that? It's common for people to say, if I just had that job, or if I just had that car, or if I just reached this weight, I'd be happy. But if you do acquire that goal, you'll soon get used to that, and then you'll want something else. You want more. You're always dangling the carrot. You dangle it further and further away from yourself. So especially when people feel competitive, we become better and better at acquiring more things. And that means we're rarely satisfied with what we have. It is not about the things. If we see someone who has something better, suddenly the things we have just don't seem good enough. And that is something I consciously train myself not to do. I really like to focus on having a simple life and buying things only when I must, usually to replace something, and just living simply. It just makes me happier. And I think it could for you too. When you compare, you're forever searching for more. And you can waste your whole life in that search. Focus on what you need, not what you want. That want factor is endless and hollow. So if you think about buying something, do I need this or do I want it? Need is survival. Need is a replacement of an essential item. Want is everything else. This thinking has really brought me to a place where I see great things happening for family or friends, and I truly feel nothing but joy for them. I don't feel jealousy. I don't feel envy. I'm just super happy for them that good things are happening. It's okay if they make a lot more money than me. It's okay if they can travel a lot more, have better house. It's all right. I'm grateful that I get to visit their beautiful home, ride in their luxury vehicle, be on the receiving end of their generosity, which happens, and I'm very appreciative of that. But I don't feel jealous about it. I'm very happy and satisfied with my life as it is. Number 4, compete less and appreciate more. There may be times when competition is appropriate, but life isn't one of them. We've all been thrown together at this exact moment on this planet, and the sooner we stop competing against each other to win, the faster we can start working together to figure this out. The first and most important step in overcoming the habit of competition is to routinely appreciate and compliment the contribution of others. I find it very natural to just tell people that I'm grateful. Hey, thank you for coming today to fix this at my house. I know that you kind of squeezed me in. I so appreciate that. When I was sick and my business partner brought me chicken soup, or she actually even brought me Thanksgiving dinner last year because I was too sick to even think about cooking. And I was really appreciated. And I remember telling her, I just was so touched by that. Thank you so much for thinking of me on your holiday and bringing me a holiday meal. It really helps take you out of this deadly toxic cycle. You might feel unhappy when you compare your career or your income to what others make, but realize that comparison like that is a liar. It tells you that you will be happy if you compare and then get what others have, but often it's the opposite. The higher we climb on that comparison ladder, the unhappier we're likely to feel. Have you ever met somebody who seems to have it all and yet they're still not enjoying their life? This could be the result of comparison. Number 5, practice gratitude. Gratitude always forces us to recognize the good things we already have in our world. Comparing our lives to others makes it challenging to even see the good things we already have. If you focus on how great everyone else's life is, you may not be able to look around and see that you have good friends, a loving family, a job you like, a talent for something, or whatever else makes you unique. As an exercise to help you with this, try going about your day and noticing each good thing in your life. For example, living in a home you love, enjoying a short commute to work, appreciating you have the weekend off. These are all good things you don't want to miss or take for granted. Something I do if I feel like I need to get back in the present moment is I take a stroll around my property. I'm very blessed that when I got this house, it had tons of flowering shrubs and rose shrubs and palm tree and beautiful big trees with flowers on them. And I'll go around my yard and check on my vegetable garden, and I'll smell the roses literally, and I'll watch the birds up in the trees, and I'll go watch the butterflies and the bees around the flowers in my front yard, and just kind of spend some time looking at this beautiful yard I have. I don't want to take it for granted, and I want to be centered back in on small moments of gratitude. It really is refreshing. Remind yourself that nobody is perfect, not a single person. While focusing on the negatives is rarely as helpful as focusing on the positives, there's important space to be found remembering truly no one is perfect and no one is living a painless life. Triumph requires an obstacle to be overcome, and everybody has suffered or is suffering, whether you're close enough to them to know it or not. A lot of people hide it. They keep it buried within themselves. They want to deal with it in private. They're embarrassed about it. They're just very private people, but it doesn't mean they're not suffering or that they didn't suffer a great deal to achieve where they are now. You may be comparing yourself to something that is fake. When was the last time you took a photo of yourself for Instagram with no makeup, hair not done, wearing sloppy clothes, surrounded by a messy house? Probably never, right? I don't. I doubt anyone wants to see me schlepping around in my pajamas with bed hair. It's okay to put your best foot forward. But guess what? Everyone else on social media is doing the same thing. It's their best version of themselves. And when you compare yourselves to others, you might be looking at someone's best day, not their worst, or it could be completely fake. It could just be a staged moment. Since we don't always know what's real and what isn't with social media, we can't make an accurate comparison. So why even start? It's okay to not compare a typical day in your life to a photo that somebody spent time setting up and editing. Don't compare yourself with others that could be filtering their real life. Okay? Take a walk. Next time you find yourself comparing yourself to others, get up and change your surroundings. You can go for a walk, like I said, around the yard. Sometimes I'll go to the local state park and I'll walk around what they call the lagoons, which, because I like it, there's lots of birds and it's beautiful mountains nearby and these beautiful bodies of water. Another thing that I do, I think just really a change of scenery is sometimes what you need. And I'll just go see a movie. I have some time free, boop, I'm going to go see a movie, or I'll go for a visit to see a friend and or say, hey, let's have lunch real quick. Something just to get out of the house, change of scenery. Find inspiration without comparison. Comparing our lives with others is foolish, but finding inspiration and learning from others is entirely wise. Work hard to learn the difference. Humbly ask questions of the people you admire or read biographies as inspiration. But if comparison is a consistent tendency in your life, notice which attitudes prompt positive change and which result in negative influence. Like I said, I have several members of my family who are very successful, and I do sometimes ask them, what did you do in this situation? Or how did you get from here to here? And they've actually been really helpful. And I try to do the same thing for my students and my clients when I can. You know, we pass those things forward. There's nothing wrong with asking how somebody achieves something. So you ought to strive to be the best possible version of yourself, but only for yourself. And you can do it for the benefit and contribution you can offer to others. You work hard to take care of yourself physically, emotionally, spiritually. Commit to growing a little bit each day and learn to celebrate the little advancements you're making without comparing them to others. I think in this business, the spirituality business, there's a whole lot of people feeling like others who do what they do is a competitor. And my business partner and I have always felt like there's plenty of business for everyone. And the people who are drawn to us are meant to work with us. And the ones who aren't, they're meant to work with someone else. So we don't look at people as competitors. And I encourage you to do the same for yourself in all areas of life. You're only competing with you. The idea of wanting everything that others have or more than they have is kind of silly. And why? Because everyone's different. All of us have talents, we make different money, we have different personalities, and we're all unique, but we try very hard to be the same rather than embracing our uniqueness. I'm going to tell you a little secret, not that many people know outside of my personal life, and that I seriously had a club in high school called the Don't Be Normal Club with my good friend Lisa Snyder. And so we started that club, and later it was the first thing I ever had published, a professional story I got paid to write, was a story about the Don't Be Normal Club. I consider myself still a very active member of that club. For example, it may be hard not to compare if a friend's constantly buying the newest technology and you've had the same one year for several years, but you might realize that friend makes a lot of money and they work 80 to 90 hours a week. They don't have a lot of time to enjoy that money, but they work hard to get that technology. That really may not be the biggest blessing for you. Maybe you value your time, your freedom more, and that's something to be aware of. When you recognize that you're both different, comparison suddenly doesn't look so good because you can't compare apples with oranges. We're back there again. So rather than looking at what that person has, just look at your own life and the unique things that you bring to the table. We're going to start talking a little bit about ways to put the focus on your own life, because remember when I said earlier in the show, I feel like that really is the core part of changing this, is just really focusing on yourself. Number one, be excited about your own life. It's hard to be excited when you're always looking at someone else's life. It's better if you don't compare yourself and instead just give yourself permission to be happy about the things you do and the experiences you have. Be enthusiastic about getting that used car that you really need, purchasing a home. It may not be someone's dream home, but it works perfectly for you and you're comfortable and safe. Throwing a birthday party for a friend, signing up for a marathon, anything. The more you look for reasons to be happy with your own life, the more things you'll notice that are bringing you joy. Next time you hear about somebody's exotic vacation or their fantastic job, Try just saying this to yourself, good for them, and mean it. Let yourself mean it. It is good for them. It doesn't say anything negative about you that something good happened in their life. Next, here we go. Escape social media as much as you can. It does have its benefits, but it's where most comparison seems to take place. It's really gone off the rails there. So taking a break from it can be highly beneficial and help change your perspective drastically. One of the best ways to not compare yourself to others is to simply not know what others are doing every minute of the day. I never understood why people felt they needed to put everything they're doing every minute on Facebook or anywhere else. And so maybe not following people who are doing that, or maybe just not looking at it as often. Try something small at first, like one day without social media, a cleansing day. Try a more extended period, like a week, if that goes well. Check out, there's ways you can look online, do a search for a social media detox. It's a popular thing. Some people go on social media detox vacations. Next, appreciate the ordinary. Appreciating just the simple things in life is vastly underrated. That first cup of coffee in the morning, walking outside, the smell of rain, an evening with friends, music that you love. These are all ordinary things, but if you really take the time to enjoy them, you may find that comparison begins to disappear. No matter what your day looks like, spend time actively looking for the small, ordinary things that make you happy and cause you to enjoy your life more. You can do this in a lot of ways, and the more you appreciate, the less you compare. I have so much more to tell you. I hope that I'll have to continue this over on Patreon because we're out of time here today. But I do want to say that it is a straightforward process. And once you learn to never compare yourself to others, your life will change for the better. You may feel that there's a weight lifted off of you, and you could end up a lot happier and more grateful. We're all unique, and the worst way to try to gain success is to bring others down or think that we somehow aren't good enough. On the opposite side, a great way to have more joy and peace is to encourage other people and focus on your own goals. That way, everyone wins. No comparison equals the chance for you and others to help each other and enjoy more happiness in life. So why not give it a try? Don't compare yourself with others and watch how much better life gets. I hope this is helpful for you. Remember, you can join me over on my Patreon page, the same name, the Angel Room. You can join for free and enjoy some of my content. You can do a free 7-day membership and enjoy all of it for 7 days. I don't want to exclude anybody from getting some of this information. Tune in next Sunday. My topic is communicating with animal spirits, and I will share some stories about my own communications, but it's more focused on how you can communicate with the spirits of your deceased precious animals. In the meantime, may your angels surround you. May your angels protect you every moment, every day of your life. I'll see you next week.